Good morning, class 10th. Children, today we are, instead of teaching you biology, I am going to start with your EVS sessions since we have not started doing any revision in EVS, and very soon you will be having your examinations. So now this is the right time to start with. First chapter that I am going to take is biodiversity, as you can see on your screen. So this chapter is very much important with respect to the objective questions as well as the descriptive questions. Right, children? So let us begin with this topic, and this is my personal favorite, and I believe that you will also be liking it. Right, and it is easier too. The first thing is the definition, the operative words in definition. When you say biodiversity, you split the term into bio and diversity. Bio means living, maybe plant, animals, or microorganisms, doesn't matter, but the diversity found in them. Diversity means the variety and variability. Please see that these two terms are very much operative while defining biodiversity. Variety means the various kinds of organisms which are present in totality, which are present over this earth. And we are talking about organisms only, we are not talking about the say non-living ones, right? And another thing, the word that I have used is variability. Variability means the difference in the number. So first thing is the difference in their kinds, their type, their appearance, and the second thing is the difference in the number. When you see those plants, they are very much numerous in number, but when you talk about the carnivores, the top level carnivores, they are very much lesser. So every living organism, depending upon its struggle for existence, it exists in a particular number. So carnivores are needed in lesser number, so that's why we have them in lesser number, right? You all have studied the food chain, so we know why carnivores are needed in lesser number. Okay, so the difference in the types, the appearance, and the second thing is the difference in the number, variety and variability in the living organisms present in the ecological complexes. So ecological complexes is just to decorate your definition. You may write a present in the environment, but it seems a bit nice when you write ecological complexes. That's the definition. Second thing that you need to understand is who coined the term. So firstly, the term was used by Raymond F. Desmond in 1968. It's written there. I'll be sending this as a PDF to you too, so that you can note it later on. And second thing is, in 1980, Thomas Lovejoy introduced the term biological diversity. So biological diversity is slightly expanded term. Later on, it was concised to biodiversity, right? And ultimately come to the father of biodiversity, who actually got much laurels and much popularity for the studies in biodiversity. That's why we call them father of biodiversity. That is Sir E.O. Wilson, right? These things are to be learnt by you, so you just understand. I'm just shifting up this camera so that you can proceed. The second heading that you have to understand in biodiversity is the kinds. Now, the heading could be what are the various categories of biodiversity, what are the various types, what are the various kinds. So, three kinds are there. First is species biodiversity, second one is ecosystem biodiversity, and the third one is genetic biodiversity, right? So first one is species biodiversity. Now it refers to when you talk about the similar organisms, right? Similar organisms means suppose we talk about rice, and rice exists in so many varieties. You talk about deer, antelope category. Some are spotted, some are swamp deer, some are hog deer. So deer have various varieties. You have a lion, I mean feline family. Feline is a cat family. So small cat to the large cat, all are Felinaceae family. So here also I have given you the example Panthera tigris and Panthera leo. So both are Panthera, that means they are cat family, but tigris is tiger and Leo is lion. So some morphological differences, some physical differences are there while talking about these two. So if any organism exists in, the genus remains the same, but it exists in various species, various varieties of a particular type of animal, it is species diversity. So at the level of species, the different kinds of species existing for a particular organism. Second one is ecosystem diversity. Ecosystem diversity, since you are using the word diversity, so different kind, this word is operative every time. Ecosystem diversity means when organisms are living around us, we know that some ecosystem variations are there, the differences in ecosystem are there. Some are desert ecosystem, coastal ecosystem, forest ecosystem, tropical rainforest different, and plateau are different, and then you have the polar ecosystems, snowy ones, mountain ecosystem is there. And every time with change in ecosystem, the variety of plants and animals also changes. This is what we are talking about, that even the ecosystem is not uniform all over the earth's surface. Ecosystem also varies, and with the variation in the ecosystem, the variety of plants and animals also differs, right? The last one here is genetic biodiversity. Genetic biodiversity means the variation in the genes or variation in the genetic resource. That's the common thing. Variation in the genes is the main concept. And while explaining this, if ever you have to give the example, we see that we are human beings. We all belong to, Homo sapien category. That means there is no species diversity among us, because only sapien is the species. So we all are belonging to sapien only. And then we talk about, but no two human individuals are similar. They have a different morphological, phenotypical features. Even if you talk about the pups, the cats, all those cats, they appear in smaller, when they are very small, they appear similar. But someone would be having a spot at the nose, one would be having a spot at the tail. So maximum time we are able to differentiate between the two. This is just, some are, very some are very lean and some are very chubby. So depending upon, even if you are talking about a same species organism, even then no two organisms appear similar. We have different phenotype because of our genes, and this is something which is known as genetic biodiversity. Right, children? So whatever you have studied till now is, we have just begun with the chapter biodiversity. The definition I have told you, who coined the term, father of biodiversity, and the types of biodiversity, species, ecosystem, and genetic biodiversity. Then you come to the reasons for loss of biodiversity. Let me tell you, this question ranges from 2 marks to 5 marks, and you are going to have a gala time if this question is there for 5 marks. Straight away 5 points and 5 marks are there with you. Right? So let us straight away, without wasting any time, I have written 9 causes here, and if you can see, at the end of each cause I have written the impacts too. Why I have written? Because these are 2 different headings there. Sometimes you may be asked, state any 5 causes for loss of biodiversity, or sometimes you may ask, state any 5 implications or impacts of loss of biodiversity. So if biodiversity is lost, right, in that case, what is the adverse impact on the environment? And this adverse impact may be called as implications of biodiversity. Implications means after effect, right? So implications of biodiversity could be the word there. Please understand that. So let us start with the cause 1, developmental activities and overpopulation. Children, when we talk about loss of biodiversity, that means loss of varieties of plants and animals and microbes, right? Maximum time when I teach in class, if suppose had been there a situation, I would have stood in front of you, I would have drawn a big circle on the board, and within that circle I would have written human activities, and I would have radiated so many impacts of human activities causing the loss of biodiversity. The first one here is developmental activities and overpopulation. More is the population. I'll be giving you the explanation in nutshell. More is the population, higher is the demand. Higher is the demand, more will be the exploitation of resource. right? So more you are using plants and animal resources, that means you are causing harm to biodiversity. Developmental activities with reference to construction of dams or buildings or roadways or highways, railway tracks, or say multi-storied apartments. Whenever construction activities are there or dam construction is there, dam construction requires much of drilling, right? So this is one of the cause of earthquake, because the tectonic plates, they actually get shaken up when the drilling is done, right? Or sometimes when you talk about the construction of dam, so the river flow is actually diverted into the water reservoir, so there is a blockage in the route of freshwater organisms too, right? They get stuck up in the water reservoir and they are not able to move freely in the freshwater stream. So these are developmental activities. When you talk about, say, construction of road or construction of railway track, obviously you have to deforest the area if suppose the railway track or roadway is actually crossing the forested land, right? So anything that is causing pollution, anything that is causing deforestation, this is going to cause harm to biodiversity, right? If you can see developmental activities at the end, I have written, if ever developmental activities or human settlement would be there, overpopulation would be there, so in that case deforestation, soil erosion, pollution, resource depletion, all will be the impacts, right children? Second thing is hunting. You may write it as indiscriminate hunting. Indiscriminate hunting means uncontrolled hunting. Obviously, we don't hunt all the animals. We actually hunt the targeted ones which are economically profitable to us, right? And that's something which is actually targeting one single type of species, and it may lead to species extinction later on, right? And if any species which is participating in the food chain, if it is gone, obviously the disturbance would be there in the food chain. Third one, exploitation of resources. You may link it up with overpopulation. More is the population, more will be the demand, and to fulfill the demand, the resources are used at a higher pace. More resource utilization will lead to the problem of resource depletion. Another one, habitat fragmentation or habitat destruction. Habitat fragmentation means patches. When you say fragment, you are actually referring to patches of forest. Why these forested patches are generated? I mean, we always, if there is a huge forested area, that will be always better than those which are existing in patches, because much land is wasted in between. Why this land is wasted? Because of the human settlements. Either they are using it for residential apartments, residential area, or maybe for farming practices or for mining practices. So anything which is actually allowing some forest to be some trees to be cut off from middle of the forest, thereby creating patches of forest, right? Again, the impacts, if you are clearing the forest in the middle, obviously this is deforestation, and it also leads to, wherever it is deforestation, it will lead to the loss of habitat of wild animals. Children, always remember, these all points are interconnected. You never have to mug them up. It's just understanding. It's just a bit of understanding is needed, that if the forests are gone, obviously the wild animals will be running here and there in search of new habitat, and in migration, during migration, many smaller organisms, smaller animals, they are not actually capable of coping up with the new habitat, and they die. So migration is something which leads to loss of biodiversity, right? Another one, introduction of exotic species. You can read the examples later on. Introduction of exotic species. Children, first of all, you understand what is exotic species and what is endemic species. Sometimes in boards, this question is there for 2 marks. Exotic species, exotic means foreign, which is not belonging to your native area. It has either invaded your area by accident, by chance it has come to your area, or it has been brought by the humankind, right? But these exotic species, they actually place a very strong competition for the endemic species. So if exotic is foreign, endemic is native, This is the operative word. One line difference and things are done. One is exotic, outside, with the species that has come from outside, not belonging to native area, foreign species, and endemic is native species, right? So outsiders basically pose threat to the native ones, posing competition for resources. Another one, pollution. When you talk about pollution, pollution, either it is water pollution, soil pollution, or noise pollution, these all are basically responsible for loss of biodiversity. Why? Because see, when you talk about water pollution, strong agrochemicals, pesticides, fertilizers, toxic wastes are there, industrial effluents which are very much toxic, these get mixed up with the water bodies and the aquatic ecosystem is hampered, right? And when you are using these agrochemicals over the soil surface, the soil biota, I mean the living organisms which are staying in soil, the ants, the termites, the bacteria, the useful bacteria, they are also killed, right? So pollution, either it is noise is not entertained by the animals, they don't like very loud noises. If ever you see the offshore drilling where the crude oil is extracted, that drilling actually disturbs the marine ecosystem, because the animals, they do not like this noise and they just run away, they migrate to different places, they have to leave their own native place, right? So noise, water pollution, and soil pollution all are basically leading to loss of biodiversity, right? A very good example here is coral reef. Coral reefs are said to be, in Hindi you call them monga, right? It's a very precious gem. These coral reefs are very good indicators of pollution. You know why? Because generally they are colorful, they are very bright, they are ornamental in use. But when there is pollution around, these coral reefs, they get bleached. Bleached means loss of color. So when they lose color, they get bleached. So this indicates that the water around them is polluted, right? And another one is use of agrochemicals. So agrochemicals, they are very strong, they are toxic, they are chemicals, they are salts basically. So they may kill the useful as well as harmful. I mean, you are using pesticide to kill the pest, but this is very strong. These are chloro compounds, DDT, BHC, benzene hexachloride. DDT is dichloro diphenyl trichloroethane, right? Chloro compounds are very much stable, they stay in soil for a longer time, and this is something which is actually responsible for loss of biodiversity. One example is the reproductive failure in bald eagle, because the eggs that the eagle lays, these eggs become very brittle because of these chemicals, DDT in particular, right? And the impacts, the species extinction is there, soil erosion, salinization. So since you are using chemicals over the soil, these are going to alter the texture of the soil. So whatever characteristics are important for a soil to be called as fertile, all those factors are lost when the salts are used in much concentration, right? And second last one is natural calamity, though it is not done by mankind, but it is one of the factors which leads to loss of life, property, and loss of environmental balance, right? I hope you all know what are natural calamities. I have written it here too. And then you can see the last one, the man, the super consumer. So whatever factors you have just studied at the top, if ever there is a question, suppose they don't frame you a question straight away, state any 5 factors for loss of biodiversity, rather they ask you elaborate or discuss man as the super consumer or man as the reason for loss of biodiversity. If any such thing where you have to describe man as the problem, in that case whatever factors you have just studied at the top, they all will be included here. Because of, say, when you relate it to man, you relate it to overpopulation, you relate it to human settlements, you relate it to the increasing demand of food, so the agricultural expansion has to be done. You relate it to luxuries, the facilitated lifestyle, use of energy, use of fossil fuels, right? You relate it to the farming practices, the economic profits, the greedy nature of man, everything will be included there, right? So just see that man as a super consumer could be placed as a separate question. I hope, children, this much was pretty much fine to begin with, and you are actually finding it interesting. And if you have any problem regarding this much of topic, please feel free to ask me. I'll be proceeding in the next video.